Folks, welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show. It just feels like yesterday, but back in Santa Cruz at the Batish Institute for Indian Music and Fine Art with his son, Keshav Batish. Welcome back to the Jake Feinberg Show.
Thanks, man.
Let's talk first about the trap set you got. What's special about this one?
Well, these toms,
Yes.
they were given to me by a really close family friend who recently passed. And he played with, first and foremost, he had his own band called Zytron. I think the first record was The Planet Zytron.
We got a name on this cat?
Yeah. And he lived in Santa Cruz for a little bit. And then his remaining years he lived up in the Sonoma area. And he's a very, very close family friend of ours. Played drums with my dad and dhol with sticks and hands. And, just a very, very beautiful person. And then had a whole other life as a psychologist, working with people up in the state prison, up there, like past the Golden Gate Bridge. San Benito
Yeah, well,
County.
no, that's, not Alcatraz.
No.
Yeah,
This was a big state prison.
Like Reading or something. Yeah,
That's it, yeah. But man, this guy helped so many people, and then outside of that, it was just a great family man. So and he was a great drummer. So and so he gifted me these drums.
Oh, that is so beautiful, man.
Yeah, and they have all that spirit of his in there, and I didn't know what the drums were, and so he just had them all in boxes and he just gave them to me, and so we loaded up in the car and I came home, and then little did I realize that these are like some really old really old drums, and they have that sound in them, but the thing is, like, they've been played too, so the wood had also been vibrated by his playing. So there's a lot of factors that went into this. So anyway, and I didn't know that was going to be the last time I saw him, and he passed maybe a few weeks ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
Since the last time I saw you.
Since the last time he spoke. And so his name is James Zitro. And you all need to get hip to him if you don't know about him.
Oh my God, dude, wow.
Yeah.
Like, that's mind-blowing because, yeah, man, he goes way back.
Yes, James.
I actually feel like I missed the boat because I never interviewed him. But yeah, dude,
He's a very, very important person. And he played with Train. He played with, the thing is, you go check out his records, because his writing was fantastic as a composer. He was trained as a classical pianist. I think his mother was an operatic vocalist too. So he had all this like music in him, and he was a healer, and a great visual artist as well. So I remember I'd go visit him, and especially during the pandemic, it was so healing, So it's just to elucidate some of the history of this area that we're in. We've got some really potent people out here, and so James Zitro, this is for him,
Can you just talk a little bit about what we were riffing on before, which is like sort of this fertile area, but not just here, the decentralization of music and the vitality of that, and how you see that or how it can manifest?
Yeah, well, we'll take James, right? Because it's like he had a music, and that continues, and that was his. When people make music, they're working out something.
Yeah.
And so then to say, oh well, this is jazz, or this is country, or this is Bach, or this is pop. It's like it's so limiting to what they're trying to work out.
Which is what? What are they trying to work out? Like just some kind of. They're not trying to. What are they trying to work out?
It's a very complex question.
I know it is. No, in fact, there might not even be a word may not be words for it.
Yeah, well.
Because we were just saying labels
Right.
are constrictive.
Right. Well, it's like, okay, I think all of us are working out something. It's like we wouldn't be here otherwise. So the music is always about um, it's always about living. It's always about breathing. Um, uh, it's always about working out of those
Cycles.
working out of like the paradigms that we get stuck in. I mean, that's why it's there. That's why art is here. You know, it's like because it's if we had nothing to work out, then none of this would exist. You know, so we're here for each other, and the relationships we have with each other are just like notes on a piano. You know, you hit one note, and it's like, well, and we can get into the intonation of the piano, which is a whole other thing, which really, it really gets to the crux of the work that needs to be done. But if you think about the notes on the piano, or you take any instrument, they have no relationship unless you put another one with it. So that intervallic, that relationship that they share with each other, it's like what we're sharing together right now. It's like without that, there's no music. There's no music without relationship.
Totally.
If that makes sense.
No, absolutely.
So, and that's the work. The work is what we're here doing right now. And if we're just chipping away at that and just, you know, honestly working at what it is that we each are here to work through.
True nature, yeah.
Then it plays itself. You know, it works itself out. So then we're not gonna. Then we don't have to worry so much. We don't have to put out all of this energy just to, you know, make it. It's like, we can let go of that. It's much easier than we think it is.
I love your philosophy. I just wonder about, like, I don't want to fast forward too far here, but you love, you know, we talked about you love teaching. I mean, it's very fulfilling for you. And, you know, all the cats that, I mean, I just wonder what you think about the idea of working with your students, and then what is it that they, because Andrew Hill, Bobby Hutcherson, Eric Dolphy, these guys weren't, I mean, maybe they taught some classes or gave some, I mean, Bobby Hutcherson always gave lessons. He was so chill. But these guys were playing incessantly live. And I wanted you to talk about when you become a teacher, like, what are your hopes for your students? You don't want them playing in isolation, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, first of all, I mean, Andrew Hill was on faculty at Portland State University for about 10, 20 years, and he had, I think, okay, let's see, Laverne was his first wife. He had met in California, and then she passed away, and she was an incredible organist, I think, if that isn't, I'm getting my history mixed up. But anyway, so Andrew, but they were two very important pedagogues, and they were both teachers, you know? So, and at a university. So the thing is, it's like, there are no bounds to how this stuff gets around. It's more a question of, like, how much we're really willing to just kind of, like, stick with it, you know? I mean, this one of my composition professors and friends told me, it's like the only difference between a composer and a non-composer is, are you still writing music?
That's right.
Are you still out there writing, and you are still out there working it out? Then you're composing, you know. And also writing can take place in person with others, and on our own. I mean, the thing is, there's no separation between those things. The work will always keep going.
Right, and if you are dogged about wanting to be a live musician, then you just have to keep pounding away at that. I mean, it's just, the only reason I ask is just so many of the cats that I interview, you know, they lived in these lofts, like in New York, for $160 a month, which they could make in 1 week in the studios, and then go out at night and play the music they wanted to play or whatever they were playing. But I just know, in talking to some of the older cats, that they have students, and they get a little bit bummed out sometimes when those students get insecure, and they walk away, and they go into nursing, or they go into something like, you know, more secure. Because those guys were always, you know, that was the to me was like, I mean, Grant Green, was paid off. I mean, he was a junkie, and the Blue Note albums, he got paid in heroin.
Well, the thing is that we mustn't forget that our
I want to see your face.
oh yeah
Yeah,
yeah
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
the essence of this is that it will take care of you. It's like is the saying that goes, it's like if you take care of the music, it will
Music,
take care
no,
of
no,
you.
that Todd Barkin. If you take care of the music will take care of you.
These are adages.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But the thing is, our elders don't just say these things.
That's right. It's true.
There's a reason why they say these things, and the thing is, to really just like honestly follow like what it is that you want to do. The thing is, it might not just be music, because the thing is, music is it's a consequence, or it's a result of something. It's not just like contrived out of the air. It's at its greatest is just like a tree, or just like it has no purpose other than what it is, and that's when it can really do what it's supposed to do. Yeah, if that makes sense.
I want to make sure that we touch on these individuals behind you on your right.
Oh yeah.
Talk about one thing specifically that you get off on as it relates to Paul Motion.
His use of space. He is very, very.
So meaning
Yeah.
meaning that not like ghost notes and funk, but like space, meaning he's not using that much. He's not overly talkative in the conversation, but when he drops it, he's you riff on that.
Yeah, well, he'd play in he'd play in the cracks of others.
I love it.
So it's like it's, and see, the thing is, some people refer to it as counterpoint, but see, counterpoint has a
Classical kind of, yeah, exactly.
It has a connotation to like the work of Bach,
Yeah,
or the work of
right.
Baroque music, which is beautiful, and that's the music of Bach. That's the work of Hildegard von Bingen. This is the work of Scarlatti, all these cats. But the way Motion would play, it would be like the three records are great with Lovano and Frizzell, because it's very much exposing at its essence what Motion, I think, did.
When you
did
say
only
space,
the way he could.
when you say space, like, because I noticed in the video that we did before with your drumming,
Yeah.
you weren't using the bass drum all the time. Occasionally that came in towards the end thematically, but I mean,
Yeah.
do you find sometimes that you work with people that are taking up too much space, and ultimately how do you try to non-verbally get them to back off a little bit,
Well, it's always it's so dependent on the situation. If it's it depends on your role. It depends on like what part you play in the dance of it all. So it's like if someone's gonna if someone needs to lay out, then they will know.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not they're going to listen to themselves, that's true listening. If you're going to listen to yourself and be like, oh man, I think I need to lay out.
That's right.
So then lay out. But if you're hearing something, then you're going to contribute. But see, it takes that inner listening to like be able to be like, okay, this is what my intuition's telling me. I'm going to follow that, rather than just being like, oh, I have to play.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly. That's such a brilliant point of the patience of knowing you don't have to play, and there's still music there.
Right. Like if you.
And it creates a lot of tension and release too.
Yeah, and see, I see, and the other thing is, I don't know how much I buy tension release, because I feel like I've heard it used in, and this is not about you, Jake. This is just about the institution of this.
Yeah.
So within like European art music, it can be used as a very colonial term to be like, oh well, harmony is the greatest form of tension and release, and so those things are they're with it, one and the same.
When I say about tension, I'm talking about using dynamics to.
Well, see, tension and release, it can be formed with anything and everything. it's really what you want to make of. 'Cause, okay, so you got dynamics, you have timbre, you have you have. Okay, just to say dynamics.
No,
and timbre,
here's the point.
you know?
Because language is a funny thing, and I'm with you.
Yeah.
It's more when you say you have to play. It's that anxiety or that feeling of, oh,
Right.
I'm not playing. My job is I need to play.
Right.
The ability to have the grace and aptitude and just calm to know that you don't have to fill every space, every sonic space. That's really the art of it. Elvin behind you.
Oh yeah.
Now talk about, because Elvin was somebody who hit sheets of sound.
Well, he knew how to keep things rolling, and he provided a great foundation for. I mean, I think of him, on like the record In and Out with Joe Henderson, or
Unity. Unity.
Unity, Love Supreme.
Larry Young, Unity.
Larry Young.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also the Train album Kulu Se Mama. There's this duet he plays with Train on called Vigil. That's worth listening to. I think the duets with Train are very revealing, because the thing is, it's like you see him really just kind of outline these beautiful sections, and then Train does that as well. So they're in this like cyclic sync with each other, where it's like they know it's like, okay, so this is a phrase, and now we have moved on to the next part of the story and the next part of the story. So Elvin really knew how to let things slide, and then how to like really emphasize things. He knew how to keep things rolling.
He certainly did. And then, I mean, Tony, Ronnie Beck, who I saw today, I mean, he said Tony brought drums to the forefront. But I just feel like, he was so young when he hit the scene.
Right.
Technically, I mean, what is something that you loved about Tony?
Well, his ride cymbal, along with Roy Haynes, for me are two big influences, because they had this way of like freeing it up. And
right.
You know what I mean? And then you think, so that's one part, Tony. Then there's this other part, which is like this master orchestrator on the drums, because you listen to him in that era. We had the big yellow set, and he knew, first of all, the tuning was super, very complex. The heads and the way he related things.
Wow.
There's like a 3-part Zildjian Day Festival interview of him. People should check out. He's
That's
in this
beautiful.
white jumpsuit. And he lived up here in San Francisco.
He did, Pacifica.
Pacifica.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
right.
No, he was piano tuner up there.
What?
Yeah, that absolutely. He tuned John Allaire, the legendary organist.
Yeah.
He tuned pianos. Tony Williams did. Yeah, he did.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, a humble monk, really.
See, okay.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing about these stories, man. These things come out and you're like, wow, okay.
Oh yeah, no, that's so. I'll
Of
send you the
course
interview
Tony
because
did.
you'll blow your mind. Yeah,
That would be beautiful, man.
Yeah, I will.
So that's the thing. So Tony had that orchestrational ability, and so case in point, he can maintain a piano. So that's, I think of him like that. I think of him also just like, the convergence of him and Miles.
Yeah.
And having Miles as a mentor was like, there have been these mentorships that have gone on, like, that have facilitated people to be able to. Really
Well, that was the whole magic of that time when
Right.
when bands were essentially farm systems. You look at Blakey's Messengers, Bobby Timmons, Lee Morgan, Wayne Shorter,
Right.
Cedar Walton. They all came out and became leaders.
Right.
So that to me is like, I mean, people could say those days are over, but Keshav, I mean, can you just talk to the audience about what your concept of, a lot of times you talk to some cats, they'll say younger kids, they don't have a they don't have a big bag of tunes. You call tunes, they don't know them, okay?
I see.
And I wanted you to talk about your concept of repertoire,
Okay.
and then ultimately like how you developed being able to, I mean, not that you're playing weddings, but that if you did, you could play anything from Sarah Vaughan to James Brown.
Well, See, the approaches are as vast as there are practitioners. I think about the approach of like Cecil Taylor, for example,
Yeah.
who said, and this video is on YouTube, so I'm paraphrasing, but he talks about, he's like, okay, well, find one note that you like, and find another note that goes with that note, and that's how you begin to build your music. You build your sound, and that is your repertoire. I mean, this is how Monk did it. That's how Andrew Hill did it. Why can't we do it too? In fact, they outlined each one of them, Cecil, Monk, Andrew Hill, and these are just pianists, So on every instrument, this innovation has taken place and continues to take place. So, take guitarists, take bass players. I mean, Ron Carter, Patitucci,
Richard Davis.
How is it that all of them could play seemingly the same instrument but sound completely different?
That's right.
That's the question that we all need to answer for ourselves, and then the repertoire just happens. I think the Buddhists. There's a term that sounds way better in Sanskrit or Pali than it does in English, but they call it just like the spontaneous, spontaneous serendipity.
Oh, I love it. I freaking love it.
That's this. It's, what I mean by that is like the repertoire becomes an end result, a spontaneous end result.
Can you talk about a couple? I know you're going back for a degree at Santa Cruz in the fall.
Yeah.
This summer, though, I really would love to come see you play. Do you have some gigs coming up?
Yes, I'm playing with. There's a Hindustani vocalist named Rita Sahai, and so she's putting on, I believe, a choir of her vocal students. So I'll be playing tabla with her. That's coming up in June.
I was gonna say, do you ever hang with Arshad Syed?
Oh yeah.
Dude, he's a dear friend. I mean,
Oh, yeah, well, see-
Modesto. I mean, what I'm saying is, you just sparked me when you talked about the singing, because he does that too with people.
Yes. Yeah, and so Rita ji and Arshad ji are both. I mean, they we've all known each other, because I mean it's like
I know. No, it's beautiful. Yeah, I love it.
The way it works is that we have to band together at the beginning,
I know.
So we, and very recently I got to play with Rita ji, with my mentor Hafez and with my dad, and so what can I say? It's a very lucky and kind of blessed life.
Just before we go, I just
Yeah.
wanted you to talk about your family and ultimately the essence of what it takes to be part of, like you said, there is no white is just a term. We are all one human race, and I just wanted you to talk a little bit about how your family, even through hard times, has always tried to exude that philosophy.
Well,
And not be resentful or bitter, but actually try to reflect light back.
right. So the thing is, we ended up in Santa Cruz in the late '60s, and until about '86, we ran a restaurant. And
Right.
within that restaurant, there was music, and there was also really good food. And the thing is, it's like all there is just to offer to others, and without expectation, and see what happens. Just see what happens. I mean, there's no right or wrong way to do this, but just like be there for each other, show up for each other, and see what happens. I mean, there are so many things that will just happen that it's like
Yeah.
there's really nothing to worry about in this world. There's nothing to fear in this world, and there's nothing that will take you off your path other than yourself. So sit with that and find out for yourself what it means to live without these expectations, and to really be able to just serve.
The greater mankind.
And if you think about even the restaurant, right? It's like we think about servers, and the service industry in this country, and how we're all trying to just make ends meet. And how we dealt with it here was like every family member was cooking, cleaning dishes, serving others, plates of food, and then serving each other within the family. And see, the funny thing is that that's when all this stuff breaks down, where it's like, okay, so then who is family and who isn't? It's like, well, there we go. Find that out for yourself. Because it'll be miraculous. Just hang on to that.
Keshav, Batish, it's always a pleasure, man. I really can't wait to see you on the bandstand, man. Much love to you.
Much love to you, and thank you for showing up, Jake. That's the crux of this.
Dude, you can't box in the spirit, baby.
There you go. That's Andrew Hill.
It's the Jake Feinberg Show. I'll see you later.